Shalom again, everybody. Ariel Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, found online at www.KosherTorah.com. Bringing to you today's daily lessons in the Sefer Yetzirah. Today is lesson number 74, the BeGeD, the witness of all things, dedicated, of course, to the safety, health, well-being, prosperity, and protection of everybody around the world facing all kinds of curious times as they are. Remember, to every nega there is its own nega, plague to pleasure. To every obstacle there is its opportunity. All is a matter of perception. So when we permutate and we weigh and we value, we look at anything and everything, we can see anything. Keep that in mind, because today we are now in the fourth chapter, Mishnahs number 8 and 14, where we are going to review the correlates of the BeGeD KaPoReT, the 7 double letters. You're going to need the handout sheet for today's class, because unlike in almost all the other lessons where we've done Mishnah after Mishnah, right now I'm going to handle lessons 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, all 7 of them pretty much together, because the language is repetitive. It's telling us that we're going to take each and every letter. It says we have it become its king, or it becomes dominant. And in its dominant, it has calibration or power or influence over one of the 7 attributes that we discussed. If you remember, wisdom, wealth, seed life, governance, peace, and beauty. And it says then we bind it to a crown, we permutate it this with that, and tzar, meaning we form with all of these combinations the different things. Remember this, the word is tzar from Yetzirah, to form. We are not creating anything from new or from scratch. We are taking that which is already there and rearranging it like Lego blocks, if you will. This is not what we call yesh me'ayin, something from nothing. Only God does that. But we're created in the image of God. And that image of God, of course, is in the power of the mind. And therefore, while we do not do yesh me'ayin, something from nothing, we do yesh me'yesh, something from something. That's the real difference between the words formation for Yetzirah and creation, which is biri'ah. So the Sefer Yetzirah should never be called the book of creation, because that's just not what it is. Okay? But now, getting back to the language, we discussed in our previous classes about the astrological realignments and things. And remember, the Sefer Yetzirah is always balanced upon the Sephirotic realities. Remember the Sephirot, the Belima from chapter 1. That is the underlying elemental, essential forces, if you will, of reality, this and higher domains. We do not touch them, see them, hear them, feel them, which is touch. Rather, they are belima. They are the underlying essences, and what we have to do is tap into them. How? Through consciousness. Now, with that being said, the correlations here, again, this is the sheet for today, lesson 74, and you see it's rather wordy, because here I'm giving you an example of how to actually perform the Sefer Yetzirah meditations, or if you will, how to actually use the text. Yeah, this is not theory. This is practice. This is an actual tool. Consider it, if you will, as I always make comparisons to, the martial arts. You can go to an academic class with a professor of martial arts who will diagram for you on the board, this is a punch and this is a kick and this is a combination. You do A and B and C. And of course, you can memorize that information, take tests on it, and get yourself a PhD in fighting theory. But now I'm going to put you on the street and let you take on a gangbanger. What can you do? All right? If you can't put that into practice, then what good is all of your theory? Apply that to every lesson in life. There are all too many people in this world who are book smart, but they're not what we call street smart. And in my opinion, the book smart people are probably one of the more dangerous groups in the world, simply because they live in a world of ideas which are often very disconnected to the reality which they seek to describe. So, to digress for just a moment with an example, you will have those of that philosophical mindset who will say, yes, there is the round peg and the square hole. Well, how do we get the round peg into the square hole? Well, obviously, if that is what we so choose to do, then that is what we will do. So then we will carve away at the round peg. We will carve away at the square hole. We will fundamentally change the structures of reality and nature so that things will coincide and correspond with that which we desire to do. Yeah. Well, if you're dealing with round pegs and square holes or whatever, and it's actually made out of wood on a board in front of you, and you wish to show off your creative carpentry or artistic flavor, go for it. But your artistic carpentry skills are and are not, a reflection of natural laws. There are certain things in law that you, in the nature, that you can and cannot do. Remember, we said we're not dealing with Biri'ah creation. We're dealing with Yetzirah formations. And that's why, if you want to understand the Sefer Yetzirah, you got to put it into practice. So that when you come to that square peg and that round hole, instead of saying, what is the philosophical right way to do this? You're going to say, intuitively, I recognize that nature did not create a round hole for a square peg or a square hole for a round peg. They're supposed to be in different places. Here's my square peg. I got a round hole. I'll bet you it doesn't go there. I'll bet you that square peg needs to find its square hole. I'm going to look for that square hole. When I find it, fits it naturally. That's the difference between theory and practice. This is why in our religious, our Torah world, why God gave us ritual commandments. Just to digress for a second. Orthodox Judaism, the good old rabbis who structured the form of halakha as we have it today. Don't think that these original Talmudic guys were not of the Ma'aseh Merkava prophetic ascent school. They darn well were, and we know it. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Ishmael, people like Honi Hamagel, and all the rest. These guys understood the secrets of the Sefer Yetzirah, and they put it into practice. And that's why they weaved into the nature of the religion the applications of these things in the practices of our rituals. So when we study our rituals and perform them within the proper context, we find that we are actually creating the natural structure of energetic frequencies which enable the continuity to exist. In case you think I'm being too high in the sky here, this is the secret of why Jews and Judaism have survived for thousands of years all over the world, not like a virus, but like a blessing. Because if you look at Jews all around the world, those who are completely lost to our identity, I'm talking about just Jews, but all 12 tribes, those who are in India, Africa, China, and all around the world, Native Americans, the people you would never in a million years suspect are natural-born Israelites, right? The DNA inside them from Sinai was altered, and they reflect this, whether they know it or not. Our rabbis, who kept with the tribe of Judah, They knew this consciously and calibrated things accordingly. And that's why you will find a universal element in all of this. Whether you're studying Native American traditions, Aborigine traditions, of course, Christianity, elements of Christianity, elements of Islam, especially Sufi, all right? But even when you go into certain elements of the Hindu faith and Buddhist practices and Taoist teachings, right? You're going to scratch and see where some of this stuff is awfully curiously similar. Now, specific functions, remember round peg, square hole, like we said with Chinese feng shui and the Torah positions, certain sounds and correlations will differ. We have the multiple differences in this system we already know. But these are differences of perspective, not contradictions of established reality. Okay? In other words, you see things like this, I see things like that, but that doesn't mean saying there's nothing there. Yes, there is. And using the old example of the Hindu metaphor, I think it was a metaphor, you had the 5 blind men who approach an elephant. One touches from the trunk, one touches from the tusk, one touches from the little tail, and each comes away with the perception of the animal being so completely radically different from the others, not realizing that they're touching, if you will, the different parts of a concentric whole. Well, that's where we're at right now. Now, and this handout for lesson 74, okay, the correlations are all here. All right, I'm going to read them to you because this summarizes Mishnayot numbers 8 through 14. The terms of the technical terms, himlich, remember, placed the individual letter is a king in something, and we said put a crown on it, and we permutated this and that. We've gone through that in the previous lessons. We don't need to repeat all those lessons right now. Just remember, everything is a matter of perception. Perception. How do I look at things differently? Okay. I got my glasses right here. Now, I have my sunglasses off camera over there, which is a, shaded, filtered lens that enables me to look in the sun. Now, granted, those will take out glare and the like. But I could also easily get blue lenses or red lenses or green or brown or gray. They can alter the color of how I see. And I have to take them off like that to be able to see a different color. Well, that is how these letters are. Now, remember, everything is with regards to its form, because we are not in the Belima world of Sefirot. We are in the world of the Otiot, and therefore you need form. Seeing light just as the bland white is all well and good, but you don't live in the white light. You live in the rainbow of light. And don't think that you can escape it. I want to go to the highest. Our job is not to go to the highest. Our job is to take the highest and bring it down to earth, right? God, if you will, created the rainbow. Forget all the connections with Noah and the flood stuff. Creates light in alternate colors for a reason. These are the perceptions. And we need to delve into each one of the, in quote, colors of the rainbow, in the letters of this, and recognize the feel, the flow of each. And every perspective of your life must be looked upon within that context. If you are of the Orthodox Torah faith, as am I, then you will come and gaze upon our Torah and our mitzvot. How? First, from the perspective of the Bet, and then from the perspective of the Gimel, and then from the perspective of the Dalet, and then from the perspective of the Kaf, etc., and so on. And in each way, you will gain curious insight. Now, you're of another faith or of no faith at all. You're a spiritual individual. You're a man, you're a woman, you're a Jew, you're a Gentile. None of this matters. None of this. We're all human souls. And when it says God created us in the divine image, that's kind of like all of us. So, in spite of all of this divisive politics going on in the world today, I'm sorry, there is no this, there is no, we're all in that level the same. Yes, we do exist in the world of the rainbow, and we're each different in that respect externally in the world of letters, but that's why we flip around the letters to recognize our united humanity. Remember this, from the physical form, we all bleed red blood. From the spiritual form, we are all created in the divine image. So with all of this other stuff going on, let's get back to the sources. So I will read to you, and we're going to continue. I know I would never complete what needs to be done here in this one lesson of the short time we have. So we'll continue in our lessons. Don't worry about it. We have plenty of time. That's the great thing about the wonders of modern technology. I'm sitting here recording this with you now for me in lifetime. You're going to watch this recording when? What for me is tomorrow? What for me might be a year from now? 10 years from now? Who knows? If these recordings survive into posterity, maybe someone who knows when will either be seeing my party face now or hearing my voice or whatever. If you are, greetings to you. Let's get down to business. The letter Bet corresponds, as we learned, to the day Sunday, to the planet the moon, to the right eye in the body, to the attribute of wisdom, which is the path of Chokhmah and Hesed. Okay? You'll go and get the handout, and you'll see all the different correlations for the Gimel, Dalet, and all the rest. It's all there. But I'm just going to read to you what I wrote here, because this is where we need to focus. Okay? Each letter serves as a vessel for the flow of corresponding Sephirotic energy along the verticals. Remember, verticals go up and down. So your level of perception is going to go up or down. We covered this in the previous lessons about the mochin. Okay? Now, when it comes to practice, again, I'll read the example here. One who wishes to acquire wisdom, again corresponding to the Bet, and to experience the difference between wisdom and foolishness, remember high and low, should contemplate this concept. What concept? The concept of wisdom and foolishness. What is wise? What is wisdom? What is foolishness? We use the letter Bet as our form and structure. So you're not just sitting there in your mind going off into daydreaming. The Bet is combined with other letters using the Petuche Hotam, the 5 base vowels, and permutated with the letters Yud Ke Vav Ke. See lesson 45, that worksheet, right? So you're going ba, be, bi, bo, bu, right? Ba, yo, ba, and all the rest with all the letters of Yud Ke Vav Ke. And this creates the vessel, which enables now the structure of the thought to have a concrete form and direction. This technique combines breathing exercises along with the mental visualizations and united with deep intuitive contemplative thought, which is the Sechel Tinudah that we spoke about back in our lesson 15. Now this example of how we're doing this would be performed when the moon is in ascendant. Remember we said the source day for us is Sunday. But you could easily correspond to the hour of the moon on Monday, which is now how things are. Because why like that? In the source is a higher level. Tapping into the source through all of the, if you will, what's the word I'm looking for? Not confusion, not when you have on the radio, where you just have so many other frequencies bombarding all over, one on top of the other. Remember I said I always do live stuff here. We don't get any of this baloney. So if words not coming to my mind, I'm not going to pause it, go look it up and come back to you. I think that's very unreal. All right? Not confused. Gosh, I can't remember the words. Just off the top. I'll bet you know the word. Don't write it in the text. You already know what I'm getting at, right? There's all kinds of things that are going to mess up the signal. So you need to perform this meditative tool that helps you focus on getting a clear signal. That's why it's better to do that in accordance to its astrological time rather than its original Sephirotic time. Sephirotic time is stronger, I agree. But we're not always able to calibrate and get that frequency and really tuned well. So we proceed as we do. Corresponds to the right eye, right? Imaginative influence. Remember the Hesed of the Hadar, eye, the imaginative faculty. And we take this. And if you want to use a mental image of one of the seven shepherds, Avram, Yitzhak, Yaakov from lesson 62, you'll take that too. Okay, we'll pick this up next time. We'll go into this a little bit deeper. Maybe we'll even give demonstrations of how it's done. So take this, review the material, be ready, because we're going to go down our little rabbit hole. I'll talk to you all soon. See you next time. Shalom.